At first, the galaxy thought humans were just another primitive species, loud, emotional, and oddly obsessed with fire. But that opinion changed the day they stepped onto Vorta 9, a planet so hostile that even the war-hardened Varnic tribes refused to breathe its air. The Galactic Council expected a rescue operation within hours. Instead, they watched in stunned silence as humans not only survived. They built a functioning outpost by day 3 and had a barbecue on day 5. It wasn't a fluke. From lava-choked wastelands to frozen moons that cracked steel, humans kept showing up, digging in, and doing the impossible. Alien biologists were baffled. Engineers called it madness. Generals called it a tactical nightmare. Eventually, the Council had no choice. They created an entirely new Deathworld class, just to describe the kind of hell only humans could call manageable. The universe thought it had seen everything. Until it met us. The galaxy had to invent a new Deathworld class. Just for humans in the vast sprawl of galactic civilization, there were few things the galaxy agreed upon. The one universal truth: Deathworlds were not to be trifled with. These were planets so hostile that most species, even the hardiest apex predators, couldn't survive without immediate and constant technological support. The Galactic Council categorized these planets from Class 1 to Class 7, with each level indicating increasingly lethal conditions: gravity, fauna, flora, climate volatility, and biochemical unpredictability. But that entire system was thrown into chaos the day humanity entered the galactic stage. The first incident occurred on Vorta 9, a Class 6 Deathworld known for its ultra-toxic atmosphere and vicious native predators. The Galactic Council had deemed it uninhabitable. Yet somehow, a human exploration team crash-landed there after a malfunctioning FTL drive forced an emergency drop. Everyone assumed it was a death sentence. The Council monitored the emergency beacon, preparing for a corpse recovery operation. Yet 3 days passed, and the beacon continued transmitting. By day 5, sensor drones caught visuals of the human crew setting up a temporary base, laughing and cooking over an open fire. By day 7, they had cleared an area of predators, using improvised flamethrowers, and built a functional comms relay from salvaged parts. It wasn't survival. It was colonization. Council biologists were horrified. The Vorta 9 ecosystem had neurotoxin spores, serpents that hunted by sound, and volcanic pressure vents that could melt through hull steel. And humans were there playing poker. A recovery ship arrived 2 weeks later. The crew was not only alive but thriving. They had named their camp Fort Bootstrap and had already mapped local water sources, built solar collectors, and tamed a pack of 6-legged hunting beasts they affectionately called murder puppies. The Council chalked it up to luck, or perhaps some freak genetic adaptation. But it wasn't just VORTA-9. Soon, reports began flooding in. On Eric Kell, a moon with corrosive rain and constant seismic activity, humans were drilling for minerals. On Therasis 4, where the air ignited under solar flare exposure, humans had built radiation-resistant shelters and were conducting research. On Draxel Prime, a rogue planet with no sunlight and temperatures below -200 degrees Celsius, a human outpost had not only survived, but constructed a geothermal-powered habitat. The alien races began to ask a question that chilled even the warlike. Krolin, what kind of planet breeds a species like this? That question led to the first official observation mission to Earth. The initial analysis raised more questions than answers. Earth was classified as an unranked world. No one had thought to examine it in depth. But upon closer inspection, Earth was bizarre by galactic standards. Its gravity was stronger than 75% of known habitable planets. It had predator species that hunted using sound, sight, heat, and even electrical fields. The planet had not one, but several biospheres ranging from deserts that reached 50 degrees Celsius to polar regions that dipped below -60 degrees Celsius. Worse still, Earth was home to constant tectonic activity, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and a wildly unstable climate. Diseases on Earth could mutate within weeks. There were insects whose venom could kill in minutes and plants that mimicked food, but delivered fatal neurotoxins. The entire planet was, by galactic metrics, a death world, and not just any death world. Its danger profile crossed every known classification boundary, but the true horror wasn't the planet. It was its inhabitants. Humans weren't just surviving. They were thriving. Earth wasn't their prison. It was their crucible. Consider their physiology, redundant organs, endorphin responses that encouraged risk-taking, and immune systems that adapted to hundreds of pathogens simultaneously. They could survive blood loss that would kill most species, and endure pain levels that other sentients couldn't even comprehend. Their psychology was equally baffling. Humans displayed something called hyper-adaptive cognition, a trait that allowed them to improvise under pressure, create novel tools from scraps, and operate in chaos with disturbing efficiency. Then there was the most terrifying trait of all, curiosity. Where other species avoided danger, humans sought it out. They climbed the highest peaks for fun. They dove into the deepest oceans to see what was there. They launched themselves into space not out of necessity, but out of sheer will. Danger, to them, wasn't an obstacle, it was an invitation. Military analysts began recalibrating invasion simulations. If a death world species declared war, the protocol was swift: contain, negotiate, neutralize. But with humans, none of that applied. There were reports of a single human marine holding off an entire squad of Vari enforcers, using only a broken pipe and sheer stubbornness. On another world, a human mining crew survived a Class 5 radiation leak by inventing a new cooling protocol. In under an hour, the final straw came during the Rax incident. The Rax Confederacy, skeptical of human capabilities, challenged a human diplomatic envoy to survive a week on Zixanth, a Class 7 death world known for gravity spikes and time-distorting storms. It was intended as a test and a humiliation. The human envoy, an ex-firefighter named Margot Ellison, lasted not 1 week, but 4. When the Rax ship returned to retrieve her, they found she'd established a signal tower, domesticated a local predator species, and compiled a 300-page survival manual titled, "So You Got Stranded on Zixanth." The council convened an emergency session. It was clear that humanity broke the scale. The existing death world classification simply couldn't quantify their abilities. A new category was proposed, Class 8, Human Standard. Not as a compliment, but as a warning. Class 8 planets would now include environments that were only survivable through human-level adaptation, creativity, and resilience. These planets weren't just dangerous. They were human-compatible. The label sent shockwaves across the stars. Many alien civilizations updated their recruitment standards. Some banned humans from competitive survival games, deeming them unfair. Others tried to study human biology in hopes of mimicking their adaptability. A few more cynical species quietly discussed containment strategies in case the Class 8 species ever turned hostile, but most simply watched, fascinated and horrified, as humans continued to push the limits. They didn't stop at Class 8 planets. Fringe Human Colony attempted to terraform a rogue planet orbiting a black hole. Another group tried colonizing a gas giant's upper atmosphere using dirigible cities. On a planet where time flowed inconsistently due to quantum fractures, a group of human scientists lived for 5 subjective years to study its mechanics. Every time the galaxy thought they'd found humanity's boundary, humans moved the line, even. Now the term human standard is used in hushed tones, not as a challenge but as a benchmark of absurdity. When something seems impossible, the phrase, "well, maybe a human could do it," is whispered like a joke or a prayer. Yet ask any human, and they'll shrug. To them, it's not extraordinary. It's just Tuesday. In the end, the galaxy didn't just create a new Deathworld class for humans. It created it because of them.